I'm Dan Riskin. This is my book-related story. So I'm in high school, and I'm in this class called homeroom, and you're supposed to read a book, and I'm like, oh, book. So I don't know what I'm going to pick, and I happened to be at the museum with my mom, and she said, you need a book, just pick any book from the museum bookstore. And so on a whim, I picked a book about bats called Just Bats by M. Brock Fenton. And I didn't have high expectations for this thing. I dragged it to my homeroom class. I start reading it, and it's talking about what they eat and where they live and stuff. But all of a sudden, the author goes on about how big their penises are. And I'm like sitting in the back of the room, feeling like I'm reading a dirty magazine. Like, what? And he goes on and on about how big, testicle size, penis length, and then why does a bat have to have such a big penis? Well, it's because they mate from behind, and sometimes the female has skin in between her ankles, and he's got to be able to reach his penis from like her ankles all the way up to the inside of her vagina, which is quite a distance. And so these bats, when they're flying around, have these great big things hanging out. And all of a sudden, my perception of bats, obviously, is completely changed. I'm like, now I love bats because they're hilarious. And that was the beginning for me of being curious about nature. It sounds infantile because it is infantile, but that's okay. That was what got me started. And as I learned more and more about bats, I got interested in how they thermoregulate, how they channel like protein this and carbohydrate that. All that stuff became interesting because it had a context now. And so, I always used to be a little bit embarrassed that that's what got me into biology and turned me into a bat biologist. But that's where it came from. So that's what it is. And I think that's okay. I hope that's okay. I mean, I've met other people that have gotten into biology for worse reasons.